That has always been my dream growing up, that I wanted to be a radio jockey until I became one and I realized that I'm so bad at it.
And
I was terrible at it. There was this one comment that said that, oh, so convenient. She started reading books and then wrote one, but I'm sorry, being a reader doesn't make you a writer. So there's no right or wrong way to do this. Nobody knows what they're doing. We're all winging it. Honestly, this platform, even though I've been on it for 10 years, I still don't get it completely. There's no way I can predict anything.
joining us on the show today is Prajakta Koli. She's a YouTube sensation. Most of you know her. She has over 7 million subscribers. She's also an actress with super hit shows. She's an author. She's an environmental advocate as well, having been on the global stage with some of the world's biggest and most renowned leaders. I can't wait to get into conversation with her today. Prajakta, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Aabha. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited for this.
Listen, I feel like a dinosaur when I see someone so young and so accomplished like yourself. I have been looking at all of the milestones you've achieved and I'm totally blown away.
Thank you. That's very kind of you to say. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Let me start with Mostly Sane because that's really where your journey began. And where did you come up with the idea of the kind of content you wanted to do for YouTube? You clearly had a good comic sense, a sense of humor that related to millions of people. What was that early part of your journey like?
I actually started YouTube as a way of kind of escaping from radio. I was working as a radio intern. I also happened to have my show. And that has always been my dream growing up, that I wanted to be a radio jockey until I became one and I realized that I'm so bad at it.
And
I was terrible at it. And I'm not surprised that I got fired off my show. I was then a production intern. And
Wait, and this also must have been a journey, right? Because
100%.
you're from a small town in India. You must have had aspirations to make it.
I'm from Thane.
But even getting into radio, that also must have been a journey. It's not easy to crack into media.
I remember when I finished my final year examinations for my mass media degree. My parents actually drove me around the city, and I'd made these envelopes which had my resume, it had a cover letter, and it had a CD with my voice samples burned on it, where I kind of took it to each radio station and dropped it off saying, hi, I want to be a radio jockey and I'm looking for an internship. If there's anything,
awesome.
Please let me know.
Yeah.
And I got an internship at Fever in Mumbai, and I was so happy and I was so excited. I was like, this is exactly everything I wanted. Till I started working there and I realized that I'm not good at it. Like there is, how you sometimes, it just doesn't fit.
What was it? What was the part that...
I don't think I was good enough, honestly. I don't think I could think. It's a very different world. It's a very different way of communication when it comes to radio. The minute you take that whole visual medium away, it's a very tough cookie to kind of crack to get through.
And I like the self-awareness. At least you didn't let it bring you down. You just sort of
I did let it bring me down
initially.
Then, where I was very, very upset and I was very sad. But because I had only prepared for the radio job, I actually didn't equip myself to train myself in any other skills other than that. So if radio didn't work out for me at that time, the only thing I thought I could do was go back to studying something, like maybe go back and become a copywriter. So I need to study for that, or I need to study for PR or marketing or sales, because this doesn't look like anything I can do. And that's when Sudeep, who was at One Digital Entertainment at that time, One Digital is the company that manages me, and he came up to me and he's like, you should make YouTube videos. He saw me shoot a video with Hrithik Roshan because they had come to the studios for the promotion of Bang Bang.
Right.
And he saw that video and he's like, you really should make YouTube videos. And I was like, I have no clue what that means. Like, I don't know what you're telling me right now.
And YouTube for most people is just like this real alien
And at
animal,
that time, 10 years ago, I didn't know anyone who was doing content on YouTube. So I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, dude, I really appreciate the offer, but I'm already broke. Like, I come from a very humble family. I'm already not getting paid as a production intern. So I don't know what this YouTube business is, and I don't know how I can make money there. So I don't know. He met me a couple more times and he kept saying, he's like, you've not called me. You've not called me.
So
I want you to
cool.
make that call. And I was like, fine, I'll make the call, because I was so desperate. I hated going to work, and that was a very new feeling for me, because everything I've ever done, I started doing theatre very early on in life, so I started earning very early.
Okay.
So when I was doing theatre, when I was in college, I loved it. I mean, days were hectic and I would not get enough rest sometimes, but I loved waking up every day and going to work.
What would you earn from your theatre days?
My first play, I would earn 250 rupees a play, but that's a lot of money
And
for
you
a
probably
college
spent
student.
most of that on vada pav.
Yeah, college canteen.
Yeah, exactly.
That I loved, and I also have always liked shopping, because at that time, agar aapne mahine mein, even if you do 10 shows, that's 2,500 rupees for a college student. That's a lot
huge.
of money. I mean, I don't have bills to pay.
Sure,
There's
yeah.
what am I going to do with the money? So I was actually very happy working, and money has always been a very important motivator for me to go to work as well.
That's brilliant. I'm also really happy to hear you say that, because
100%.
not enough people own it. You know, not enough women own it actually.
Oh, no. I am very motivated by money. I'm motivated by money to work hard also, and spending motivates me more.
Yeah, that's a brilliant motivation. Why not? You know, that's good enough.
A very important motivator for me. So I went up to him. I said, okay, fine, you know what? And I was so clueless when I met him the first time. I thought I'm going for an interview to be a YouTuber. I thought One Digital will interview me and then hire me to be a YouTuber for their firm or their company.
Okay.
So I was like, did I get the job? And he's like, what job? I said, did I get this, whatever this was? And he's like, we work for you. Like, you are the creator and you make content. And I was like, what does that mean? So it started rather blind and clueless for me. And I kind of just figured it out as I went through it. But very quickly, I realized that I was having a lot of fun doing it. And
Sounds
it was
like
the
it.
best decision.
How quickly did it grow? And, you know, how does the relationship work as a creator, you know, with them, for example? Did you see an instant response? Did it take some time?
It took a while. I think, I remember when my first video hit 1,000 views, I was just baffled. I said, 1,000 people is a lot of people. And that's when I started getting the hints of the scope that this medium came with, and it was just picking up in India at that point. So the fact that it has a reach to anyone ever with an internet connection was overwhelming, but also at the same time very exciting to understand that is the scope.
Right.
That's like saying anyone in the world ever at any time can watch and has access to this. That's very exciting. So I started in the Feb of 2015. In the June or July of the same year, I put up one video. That was my first viral video. It was this video called Hilarious Words Delhi-ites Use. And I think it took me about, from Feb to June, I reached about 3,000 followers. And by August, I was at 30,000. And that kind of put a lot of things in perspective for me. I mean, it made me very happy and excited. But at the same time, it also told me that there is no way you can math your plans here.
Right.
Like, there is no way you can sit down and... It's a gamble. And it's fine. It's okay. But that was the first time I really got a taste of how mad life is going to be.
So today, you know, we track all these insights and so on. I mean, at that time, like you said, it was just a mad journey. Was it far more instinctive, or would you say that there were maybe some key learnings that you took away from you?
I actually lucked out completely because I started my journey with One Digital, who had been in the business for a while. So they knew what they were doing. Right. Gurpreet, Saurav, Sudeep, the three of them, I remember before the video started kind of doing well, I remember them sitting me down and telling me about internet hate, telling me about trolls, telling me about...
prepared you.
Yeah, telling me about how money is made, telling me about how AdSense works, telling me about how brand videos are going to work and collaborations are going to happen. So I feel like I really lucked out because I met the right people and I was guided very well. So that kind of made it easy for me to stay instinctive.
Sure.
Because I could trust my team with having the logistics and the math of it in place. But personally, if you ask me, I think it's still very instinctive. I don't think I still understand the grammar of it all. I kind of still go with how any piece of content makes me feel or any opportunity makes me feel.
So what's the craziest reel you made?
Craziest reel I've made?
Or any one of them, not the most. It's hard to choose, I'm sure.
I mean,
tell
there's
us
a
some
couple
funny stories, yeah.
I really liked In fact, here only it was. I really liked shooting with VD when we were doing Jug Jug Jio promotions, where I did this video called Your Varun Dhawan accent is so sexy, say it again. And it was just me imitating him. And he was such a sport about it. That one was very fun.
You were imitating him?
I was imitating.
Do it now. Right.
No, like he doesn't say aunga, na, he says auga.
Acha.
So I was just joking with him about that, and he was very sporting with it. So that video was fun. I think the craziest reel is, I remember I was in Dubai, and I was on the, they do that skywalk thing on the 50th or the 70th floor where you're just hanging by a wire and you're walking with.
Oh my God, yes.
And I did the Nach Punjaban step when I was there.
Oh my
and
God.
That was the only time I uploaded something, and my mother's called me screaming at me. She's like, stop that! And I was that was fun. But there's so many that have done well.
You talked about trolling earlier. Equally, there's been so much talk about how content creators sometimes have to go to extremes because there's just so much content out there. Just to catch that attention from your viewer, you have to constantly come up with something that is going to be a little different or a little extreme or something eye-catching. Is that a challenge you also face in terms of how it adds pressure to the process, or do you feel that for you it's been a little bit different?
No, I don't think it's been different for me, but I also wouldn't look at it as pressure, because in any kind of creative work, I mean, evolution has to happen eventually.
Yeah.
I mean, we can put this in context of content creators, but it has happened with everyone, with poets, with writers, with filmmakers. I mean, there is a point you're going to reach in your creative journey where it's going to kind of start dipping down a little bit, where there is going to be a little bit of fatigue that's going to come from your content to your audience. And I think those points also happen to be important, because unless you reach that, you don't know how to deflect and manage and try new things. So I don't look at it as pressure. I actually look at it as a little more direction, in the sense of just understand. Also, as creators, it's us sitting at home or in our offices with one mind trying to make things. And I've been doing this for 10 years now. I need extreme reactions from my audience to steer me in newer places, because I will never, one mind can never have that kind of perspective and foresight to this. So I actually look forward to reactions from my audience.
Okay, that's an interesting take as well. Okay, we'll come back to a little bit more on this. You had this very unique interaction with Susan, who is the global head of YouTube. She's of course no more with us. She's a phenomenal lady from what I've heard. But what was the experience of meeting her? Because she was supposed to be a legend, and to have the
100%.
opportunity to sit with her must have been,
I mean,
something
YouTube
that's
started
priceless.
in her garage.
That's amazing.
That's how iconic she is, and she's been around during the most iconic time. Wow, I miss Susan. She was such an important person in my journey as a creator for me, and the fact that most of my time as a creator, she was the CEO of YouTube. For her to spend any time on a creator like me, to actually take time out of her life, not just to give me opportunities with YouTube, but in other ventures that she was involved with. I remember a few years ago, she put me in touch with Room to Read, and ever since then, I've been working with them. It's a beautiful platform that works around girls' education, and now they also work around climate action. She put me in touch with them because they were doing a film that they wanted me to voice for. So it was me and I think Frida Pinto, the two of us voiced for it. And that opportunity came to me because of Susan. I remember spending time meeting at an event in Italy a while ago, where I ended up meeting some very, very inspiring people from around the world, making connections that then translated into a lot more than I could have organically even aimed for because of Susan. She invited me to that. When Susan was coming down, the fact that she agreed to sit down with me, talk about it, the fact that I had that kind of access to someone that high up in the industry was such an honor for me, and she had been such a cheerleader and a supporter for me. It's unfortunate.
It really is, and you're absolutely right. It's really something special.
Very special
to have that proximity to her.
Yeah.
But that's not the only global leader. You've also spent time with Michelle Obama. You've been part of the daytime Emmy-winning docuseries Creators for Change on Girls' Education with her. What did you take away from that experience and in being a voice of change? She's somebody who I think when she speaks just gives me goosebumps most of the time.
I was so surprised with how she didn't know she was Michelle Obama.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I mean, when she entered that room, she's called me out by my name, and she's come and hugged me. And it was a warm hug, a real one. None of that like, nonsense that happens usually. She's actually come and she's hugged me. She's asked me how my day was. And then I was so nervous till I saw her, because also like the Secret Service kind of comes and like proofs everything and checks everything, and you're not allowed to move much and you have to be in your place and stuff. And I get it. Those nerves of mine kind of lasted for like 5 seconds till she came and hugged me. And then suddenly it was just girls sitting down talking about things that they love. And that ability to kind of walk into a room and have that aura, but at the same time be relatable, be believable, be normal, I think is magical. And the fact that she was all of that, another thing that I'll never forget, she is Michelle Obama. I carried my copy of Becoming to get it signed by her. Yeah. And her secretary said that she's not going to sign any copies right now, but we'll take it to the office and we'll send it to you. So I was like, you took my copy away and I'm never getting it back. Like, and then lockdown happened when we came down. When lockdown opened, I got a parcel from DC where she had signed the copy for me, and she sent it to me all the way to India. She remembered. She is Michelle Obama. That's brilliant. You know what I mean? Yeah. She doesn't have to, but the fact that she does is what makes her golden. Oh my God, I'll never forget that woman. It's one of my favorite days at work ever.
Well, that's a beautiful story. And you've taken up all these remarkable causes, whether it's, like you said, anything to do with women and girl child empowerment. You're also a climate activist. You were at Davos last year. Talk to us a little bit about that in terms of the kind of responsibility it includes. What is your role? How you came to choose this particular cause among others?
It actually started in 2015 when I started speaking about body positivity on World Mental Health Day. And I remember speaking up about it because I was getting a lot of comments and messages by people, kind of males even, by people telling me about the fact that they face body image issues. And a lot of those questions would end with, how do you deal with it?
You had men also asking you this?
Mostly women in the beginning.
Right.
I was so surprised because I have dealt with image issues, body image issues growing up, because I grew up a very skinny child. And I was just talking about this to someone. I've always loved the entertainment industry, but I never opened a magazine or saw a newspaper, saw on screen and saw anyone that I looked like. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I always felt like, I said, I want to be an actor and I want to be in the performing arts, but is this the only norm? Like, do you have to look like this to be an actor? Is that what it is?
Yeah. That's true.
And I felt very inadequate at that point because I didn't look like it. I mean, even right now, I like it now. I'm not very conventional looking. Like, my features are very different. I don't have a sharp jaw and a sharp nose and perfect poreless, flawless skin. Like, none of that.
You've clearly got a face for camera, and like I was saying earlier, you created a brand of your own.
Yeah,
today.
but I'm saying that also I didn't know better.
The standards that were set were very different.
Very different. Yeah. And I didn't know better. I didn't know how to look beyond that.
Yeah.
So for me, I grew up with the body image issues myself. So someone reaching out to me was actually quite surprising in the beginning. So I was like, you know what, I'll make a video about this on World Mental Health Day. Because I also realized that a lot of them just want to vent.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, you know what, if you want to talk about it, I can help you. I won't give you answers because I'm not a therapist and I'm not qualified to do that. But if you want a place to just dump your feelings, here's an email ID.
Okay.
And a lot of them would write in the subject line if they want me to open the email. And a lot of them said, don't open this email. So I never opened those emails.
That's interesting.
And over the next week, I had more than 8,000 emails. Lots of emails. And I was really surprised. That was the first time I realized that I have impact beyond what I am doing. And I loved that someone thought me worthy enough of their time and energy and their feelings to kind of open up to that portal, which they knew led to me. So that was actually very, very validating for me from my audience, because till then I was just making comedy videos. So I was like, okay, why will anyone watch anything that's not comedy? That's not why they signed up to my channel for. So I was very surprised, and that's how it first began. And then it kind of dominoed into a bunch of different things. I went into girl education, went into inclusivity, gender equality, and then the latest is climate action. I mean, I do feel a responsibility, but I choose to do that. I mean, again, I've always said this, that each creator has a journey of their own and they have their own way of dealing with whatever. So I'll never say that everyone with an impact should do this, because again, it's different for different people. I felt like I want to talk about things that matter to my audience and I.
Do you have to balance it in some way with, with the kind of necessity of also creating the other kind of content that
100%.
you have to on your platform?
100%. I mean, yeah. Also, there are times when I feel inadequate in both places, where I feel like, am I not doing enough of this or am I not doing enough of that? So, but I think that's just the nature of the beast. I think I knew what I was doing when I signed up for this job, which doesn't have any right or wrong answer.
I just love how much you think about it. It's just so refreshing to see that you're deep into it.
I love it.
It's literally your personal brand.
Oh, 100%. I love it. And I
It's
love
not
every
some managed
single...
machine, it's you.
Which is also why if I don't have answers, then I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go to. But I mean, I'm just happy that I get to do this. Again, like I said, Susan has a huge role. YouTube has a huge role in kind of putting me on different platforms where my voice was heard. Like YouTube took me to Davos last year, which was iconic, honestly. Anytime, the first time I went to the UN with my project called No Offense, which is again about inclusivity. YouTube put me through for that. I was a part of the Creators for Change program for the Michelle Obama documentary. So YouTube has a huge role, Susan has a huge role to play in me having any sort of voice beyond my organic reach.
What was the reaction to you at Davos in terms of the conversations you had with people? They must have been so interested in hearing from you.
It was so funny. I was actually very intimidated to be there because,
I'm sure.
Just to tell you a little bit, just in case anyone doesn't know about the World Economic Forum, so Davos is a small town in Switzerland that is basically emptied out, and all the dignitaries and ministers and people in power, parts of the problem, parts of the solution, all of them are in one town.
Right.
And walking around, like there's no cars or anything, you walk everywhere, and you'll walk by and you'll meet like dignitaries. Just it's very high security. It's a lot. And I remember when I landed, I was so nervous. I was so intimidated. And as soon as I landed, I had to just dump my bags in the hotel, and I had to go for a panel discussion I was speaking for. And I think that was around creativity, AI, and technology. And I was sitting in this room, and there were all these people sitting, and I'm on stage. And someone spoke about some AI terminology, and the question came to me. Now, I don't know that terminology. I didn't know what it meant. So I was like, I need to make a very informed decision at this point. Do I wing it?
What did you do?
Or do I tell them? So I told them, I said, I'm sorry, I don't understand what you said. And everyone in the room went, oh, thank God, because we didn't understand what he... And in that moment, I realized, I said, you know what? Maybe we've just built it up so much in our head, these black suits and ties just make you believe that, okay, whatever they know is what everyone should know. And I think that's where I really was very happy to be there, because then I was very unapologetically asking questions that before that incident might have seemed too stupid for me. But I ended up actually having beautiful conversations. I met some really interesting climate activists. There was this one that I particularly remember. Her name is Aisha. She was studying in New York, but she's from Pakistan. I ended up having a really, really, really good conversation with her. I was very happy that I ended up going there. I actually stayed back 3 more days to work on my book.
Fantastic. So let's talk about your book.
Yes.
What led to your decision to get into writing? How much are you enjoying it? You're on this fantastic book tour, which I know you're thoroughly enjoying because I've been tracking it. So tell us all about it. And a lot of people are curious. What is the book about? Is she now going to be writing a lot more? So on and so forth.
I actually have always enjoyed writing. I started writing when I was very young. I remember I grew up a single child.
Okay.
And we grew up in a small family. My great-grandparents stayed with me till I think I was in the 8th or 9th grade, and then we ended up, we lost them when I was that age. But it was Mama, Baba and me. And I've never been a very, I wouldn't say social child, but I hate leaving the house. I mean,
really?
If I want to mingle, I'll call, and I've always been that person where I would always call friends home. I would like, come home, like, let's do this. I don't, even today, I don't enjoy going out unless it's on vacation.
It's so interesting, right? Sometimes the most seemingly outgoing people, at least on camera, are actually the most introverted.
I'm not introverted, it's not about...
It's not an extreme, it's just...
Yeah. I think I'm an ambivert, is that what I think that's what I am, where I'm selectively introverted or extroverted. I'm not completely that. But I love staying at home. I will rarely leave the house. If I don't need to, I will not leave my house. My parents obviously got worried. They're like, are you okay? What's happening? So my parents actually gave me a notebook saying, you know what? If you don't feel like going out and chilling much with everyone, how about you start writing about your day? So if there's anything you're feeling, you can always write about it. And in the beginning, I was like, oh, I just came back from like tuition. So like, why are you giving me more homework? And my Baba was like, think about it. So
sweet,
my
yeah.
initial entries are very like lousy and half-hearted. But then when we moved out 5 years ago, we moved houses. I actually found a whole stack of many stacks of notebooks that are filled with my teenage years, where I'm talking about my day. And I think that is where I really enjoy. And now that I read it, it's not half bad. You know, to be written by a 12-year-old, I mean, I didn't mind reading it, for me, in my opinion.
I want to see snapshots of this now, of the raw.
Oh,
of the
no,
raw
that's
book.
never leaving. But lots of stories, everything told. When I was in radio, I would write my own scripts for the show, whatever, went on to YouTube, same with scripts. And then during the lockdown, when we had a lot of extra time on our hands, I realized that as much as I enjoy doing short form as in like episode, script, sketch content on YouTube, I want to diversify and do more. Like I want to do long form content. I want to do episodic content. I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to write more and sell it to OTT platforms and producers and directors and tell them, hey, do you want to make this? So the story idea for the book actually was supposed to be an 8-part series that I was working on. But it was so exciting for me because it was so simple. Like it didn't come with like, ooh, plot twist. Like none of that. It was extremely simple.
Okay.
So I was like, let's not put a writer's room together. Let me see if I can work on this by myself. But I'd never written a pitch deck or a storyboard before. So my only medium of writing was journal entries.
Right.
So I started making journal entries as the characters because I've also read a lot of romance books where you have dual POV chapters. So that's how it started. And then about 8-9 excerpts in, the team was like, Prajakta, this looks like chapters. Do you just want to continue and see where this goes? I said, sure, I can try. And that's how it started. So it's a romance novel. It's fiction.
So is there real life inspiration
Nothing.
in any way? Or...
Very fictional.
Okay, all completely just,
Very fictional. The only thing is that I have a thing for men with brown eyes and dimples, and my fiance has brown eyes and dimples, and the male main character in my book has brown eyes and dimples.
Some of the girls I spoke to are really interested in knowing how having a fiance now has changed your world in terms of, is he a supportive partner? Is it important to have a supportive partner? For you, how is life different? What are you looking forward to next? And you have a lot of things that are tying in together, right? For instance, you're doing a lot of diverse different things. On the personal front also, things are moving. So what's life looking like for Prajakta today?
Touch wood, it's great, but also he's been a part of my life for 13 years now. I mean, he was with me before I started doing radio. We met when I was 18, he was 22.
Oh my God, this is like a, school, high school or college romance?
College, because
college,
I met him when I used to do theatre.
Oh wow.
I then finished my graduation, then went into radio, then YouTube started. So he's been with me through everything.
What does he do?
He's a lawyer.
Lawyer, okay. So you've got the creative and the hardcore
very
academic.
corporate,
yes.
very corporate. And I'm glad that our work lives are very different from each other. We're also very different people in general.
Okay.
So he's actually been with me through everything. He's seen me through everything. He's helped me around. He's been a very solid support for me through everything. I genuinely believe that the kind of work that I do, with the kind of schedules that I have, with the way that my brain works around my work, if I don't have a supportive partner, I can't have a partner. I don't think I could be with a partner that's not unwaveringly supportive.
I was just going to say that there was no in-between phase where...
I mean, no, of course, we've had our phases. Also, we grew up together almost.
Sure,
I mean, all through our 20s, when he's finding himself, I'm finding me, and we're together in this. We're already very diverse. The more we grew up, the more diverse we kept growing up. So we've had... it's been a roller coaster. We've both worked very hard for this relationship, and I'm so glad because I'm so happy right now, and I know that happiness comes from the fact that there was a lot of work that went into it from both sides. But having said that, even on the tougher days, I knew sometimes silently, but he was always there.
It's really sweet, and I think it's nice to know because everyone has a romantic notion or aspiration that the partner will support their dreams as well. So it's really nice to hear stories where that actually does happen. I'm sure it happens enough, but it's always reassuring or validating to hear that.
Yeah.
You said that just while we're on a personal note, but you said that you also had body image issues, and earlier you also talked about trolling. So not specifically on any particular topic necessarily, but as and when you have been trolled, has it ever gotten really messy, and how have you dealt with it?
So I actually went into this very aware that this was going to happen. So it didn't really bother me I've been a creator for 10 years now. Yeah. For a major chunk of my time online, it hasn't bothered me. But every time I have diversified, there has been resistance, which I find quite surprising, especially with the book. I was very, very surprised with...
I've picked up on it in terms of just the articles about it. It's all very suspicious but why is she coming out with a book,
I said, I don't get this gatekeeping of art in any form.
Nice.
I mean, any artist diversifies, right? I mean, there are all these videos and I'm never usually bothered. But this time it did kind of like I did stay a second longer on a few videos. I did open comment sections of some. There was this one comment that said, they're so convenient. She started reading books and then wrote one, but I'm sorry, being a reader doesn't make you a writer. And I was like, fair enough, what does? What makes you a writer? Are you telling me that anyone who's ever written a poetry or a story or anyone who's ever picked up the camera to click a picture, to make a film, to make music, had to go to school for it first? So my point was that I know this doesn't come from a place of insecurity. I think it just comes from a place of hate.
Yeah, it's true.
Which is very surprising to me because I was like, since when did we start doing that to artists? Like, since when did we start saying, no, this is us and you stay in your lane? So who's ever stayed in their lane? I mean, you were in the media industry. Every fourth person we meet, what did you do before? I was an engineer.
Right.
I was working in IT. I was a lawyer. But eventually you grow up and you find different things that you want to do and you settle on things that give you joy and you try doing these things. So I was just very, very surprised with that in the beginning, but I'm over it. You know, I saw this video by a writer and editor, his name is Amritesh, where he spoke about this and he actually termed it as literary snobbishness. But he was like, you don't have to like a book.
Yeah.
But since when is there no space?
True.
Why can't we coexist? Yeah. And I loved that. I was so happy when I saw that. And I was like, and I've been a creator for 10 years, dude. I'm not delusional. I have put out so much of my content. None of that has ever gone up thinking or assuming, or I'm not in some world where I'm thinking that everybody is going to like what I'm doing. That has never been the point of creation for me. When I was working on the book, I knew that there are people who might enjoy it, there are people who might not, and that's just the nature of the beast, no? I mean, in general, any piece of literature that you read, you will have a different take on it, I will have a different take, but that doesn't mean it doesn't get to exist because I don't like it. True. So I was the most surprised with the resistance towards this, but then again, touch wood, with the kind of reactions that I've been getting, I'm very happy with it. I'm very glad that people are liking it, people are enjoying it. And to anyone reading, I would always want to say that please don't go into it expecting literary genius. I'm not that.
It's an expression of self.
It's an expression of self also because I love finding really simple, ordinary stories and telling them. When I'm working on characters, I'm not looking for quirks. I'm not looking for, ooh, this person now has this thing that makes him look different than the rest of them. No, I'm really looking for things that will make my characters look like you and me and feel like you and me, and that's the reaction that we've been getting for both the characters in the book. So I'm actually very happy now. I was very nervous till the book came out for obvious reasons.
And if you weren't nervous, it wouldn't be normal.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm very happy now.
I love that you're so authentic. I think you stayed really true to yourself.
Thank you.
You know, in terms of everything you've done so far. And, I can just see that in how you're communicating with me as well. When you have picked your shows or the kind of shows that you've decided to act in, shows, films, was there also a thought or a logic between choosing them? Did you just kind of take something, again, also just because of artist experimentation? What did you enjoy the most? What were some of your takeaways from the experience of acting and from, being on the screen?
I love it. I've always enjoyed acting. I've always enjoyed being in front of a camera.
Was it inevitable?
100%. I mean, when I was doing theatre also, I remember the joy I would feel. I was 18 when I started doing theatre, 17, 18. I remember the joy I would feel every time I was on stage. I have missed examinations faking that I was unwell so I could go and perform my shows, and that was very unlike me. I'm a very seedha bachcha growing up, very, very vanilla, extremely basic, and never want to give my parents any trouble, never got into trouble for anything. Got into trouble in my 20s for a lot of stuff with my parents, but never when I was growing up.
Okay, what did you get in trouble with? I have to ask.
I
now.
mean, boyfriend trouble, like
Boyfriend,
lying
yeah,
about stuff,
essentially.
like all of that, like my parents finding out, or like just in general, like. So yeah, so for me, I've always enjoyed it. But one of the things that really pushed me, so auditions make me very, very nervous. So I remember when I got an audition call from Panchami Ghavri, who's our casting director for Mismatch. She also casted me for Jug Jug. She's changed my life. I love Punch. When she called me saying that RSVP and Netflix is making a show, it's based on Sandhya Menon's book. It's called When Dimple Met Rishi. We want to test you for Dimple. So I was like, oh, okay. First of all, huge opportunity if it's a title role.
Yeah.
And secondly, when I got Dimple's description, it had nothing to do with the way she looked.
Nice.
Which was very refreshing because इससे पहले जितने भी मैंने auditions दिए थे, it was always round-faced, dusky skin,
It really says
chubby.
all that?
Oh, 100%. You could ask any actor at this point. Bubbly. This one spoke about how she's a coder. She has a troubled family life with her mother because her mother wants her to get married and she wants to be a coder. She is driven, she is focused, not the friendliest face in the room, and doesn't care about. I loved reading about her. I loved how non-ideal she was as a female main character.
And it must be resonating with so many young women and girls
100%.
out there.
I remember when we were promoting season 1, there was this one journalist, female. She started the video off with, she started the interview off with, dude, I think Dimple is so annoying. I said, I like that. Why? She's like, because like there's this perfectly good guy, and you know why doesn't she care about him? I was like, is this your first time meeting women? Have you met a regular girl who has dreams and aspirations and who is fighting whatever she is for her space in the world? I said, not everyone in today's day and age wants that.
Yeah.
I mean, no shame to people who do.
Yeah, no, but everyone wants something different.
It's
True.
not the norm anymore.
Yeah.
So I loved that Dimple came to me. I mean, honestly, if I hadn't cracked that audition, I would have so much FOMO. I would feel so bad for not being able to do that. I love her. She's such an important part of me, of my journey.
What fun.
And she's very, very special to me.
Okay, and now I'm getting FOMO hearing about all the fun that you're having. But I think what's important about this, and even if you're doing it inadvertently and doing it because it appeals to you, but it is actually impacting the lives of so many girls, right? And just in terms of changing perception around identity, around the benchmarks of beauty or what one should aspire towards, what one can have an ambition for. What is the legacy? I think it's too early to talk about legacy because you're very young. I think you may have achieved a lot, but there's just so much more.
Also, I haven't given it any thought.
Right, but I think in terms of message, maybe, what are some of the things that you'd like to tell young girls from just looking back from where you started to where you've come?
You know, I come from a lot of privilege when it comes to my growing up years. I mean, I come from a very simple, humble, middle-class family. But my parents never raised me as a girl child. They raised me as a child. So growing up, inadvertently, none of my thoughts were ever dominated by my gender. And that changed a lot for me. It also gave me a lot of courage and confidence because A, I was clueless about how it is, and B, also that the thought never came to me that maybe I need to factor this in when I'm doing something or when I'm avoiding something. Right. So if I had to tell something to young girls, it would be that no matter how much the world tries to push you around, please, when you have internal dialogue and when you talk to yourself, please don't let gender ever be a filter. It just simplifies a lot. Please don't do something because you're a girl, or choose not to do something because you're a girl. Choose to do whatever you need to make those decisions as a creator, as a doctor, as a lawyer, as an engineer, whatever it is that you want to do with your life. And number two, I mean, I only learned that with age. I think, especially in the past 2 years, I am a very, very happy person because I've been very kind to myself. I am my biggest fan. I will always be in my corner. I validate myself when I've had a good day, but I'm also very kind to myself when I've not. I am biased towards myself. I'll not spoil myself, but I have accepted all sides of me, good, bad, and ugly, and I'm okay with them. So I think if you do these two things, the world becomes a much nicer place because you don't derive that joy from someone else.
True. What are some of Prajakta's favorite girly things?
Some of my favorite girly things.
And what does she love to spend her money on? Jewelry, clothes, travel?
I love getting my nails done.
Favorite colors?
I'm shooting a show right now, so I have to do the nude ones for now, but I love white.
Simple again.
Yeah, I love it. I love reading. I love reading dirty novels.
Dirty novels, which ones?
Every one of them. Bro, I've read over 200 books. I've not read 50 Shades of Grey.
You're kidding.
I've not. I watched the films, but I've read all the other dirty books. I mean, in the past 2-3 years, I've read more than 200 romance novels, and I know exactly why I pick up a book, and I enjoy it.
I think we're going to see more of the author.
100%, but I can't write sex. You know, I came to realize when I was writing that chapter for my book, I'm too shy to write about sex. So I kind of, the way that I did write it is specific but vague, but kind of also like it's just walking on the sidelines, just like.
I give it 2 more books, and then we'll have this discussion again.
Yeah, you're right. You know what? You never know. You never know.
You know, it's a love story. If your couple had to go for a romantic date and we're, around Valentine's, what would be the ideal date? For instance, we're at the JW Marriott, they have a nice, beautiful poolside deck or some amazing candlelit restaurants. What would be the ideal Valentine date for your
my
characters?
Yeah? Oh, for Avni and Aman?
Yes.
Now that I think of it, there is so much inspiration from real life. I think they would enjoy staying in. I think they would,
Champagne and ice cream?
100%. But Aman doesn't drink. So I think what they would do is they would take a chopper, because he's a billionaire, obviously. So they would take his chopper from Mumbai, fly to Mussoorie, because he has a chalet there where his parents live, but he has a house, he has a room there with a beautiful balcony. I think they would go there, and he would have green tea or ginger ale, and she would have wine because Avni loves her wine. Yeah, they would do cute things. Cute non-veg things that older people do.
Okay.
Consensually. And eat, and I think just stay in. Yeah, that would be their perfect Valentine's Day.
I can see the you in them, right? Yeah. And does your partner like that too, staying in?
He loves going out, but I am very strategically
working on him,
bending his mind in getting him to love staying in. Like the other day we were talking about something and I really didn't want to go out for dinner. But I did get ready. And I was like, hey, he's like, hi, you ready? You look pretty. I said, thank you. He's like, are you ready to go? I said, yeah, I'm ready. He's like, should we just stay in? I said, yes, God. I like that this plan is working. I said, no, we can go if you want to go.
Always works.
He's like, no, you know what? I've also had a long day. So we just called in for like Chinese takeout and like sat in our pajamas and ate spring rolls. So I was very happy.
Brilliant. So I know we ran out of time, but I can't let you go without asking you one last question, which is tips for creators. Because I know today you do so many different things and you're
I'll always be a creator.
Beautifully creative. Yeah, but I think, 7 million subscribers, that's led you to having a voice that is being used in a way to make change.
Yeah.
I'd love to know what somebody who's looking perhaps to do that organically today, or even if they were to try and find the right support, perhaps anything that could help them in their journey.
There's a few things that have really worked for me. But before I tell any of that, I'd like to say that there's no right or wrong way to do this. Nobody knows what they're doing. We're all winging it. Honestly, this platform even though I've been on it for 10 years, I still don't get it completely. There's no way I can predict anything, okay? So these are things that have helped me. Number one is that there's never a better time to start than now. There's never going to be a perfect video, perfect production equipment, perfect music. It's never going to be a perfect idea. You will reach your perfect a few videos into putting yourself out there. So if you want to start now. Please feel fortunate that you are, if you're from India, that you're from the biggest digital economy in the world, where, and when I mean economy, I mean that it's booming and how there's a reason why all eyes are on us. We have the biggest population of creators and consumers at the same time. There's an audience for everything. A lot of money is coming onto the platform. When I started off, every time there was a budget breakdown that happened for brands, digital economy or digital marketing would be 5%, 7%. We're speaking of like about 70% now, where most brands, big brands, are spending most of their money on digital platforms. So scope for money is there. So yes. Number 3, it's a long game. I know it seems like a gamble ki ek hi to video viral karna and then life set. It doesn't work like that. I mean, I still have to keep evolving and keep trying new things, and I'm 10 years into it and I still don't completely have it. So it's a very, very long game. There's no alternative to hard work. And number 4, please, as a creator, and I can't say this enough, please monitor your consumption patterns as much as you monitor your creation. Because the internet can be whatever you want it to be. For me, it's my safe space. It's where I go with my art. It's where my audience is. It's where I get the guts to do the things that I do today. It's where my biggest cheerleaders are. It is a place that has given me literally everything I have today. I have found my people. I made friends. I have had opportunities that I would have never had if it wasn't for the internet. It is my entire life. It's my home. I've also worked very hard to keep it like that, where my feed is very, very monitored. My consumption of hate is very, very monitored. I have put very strict guardrails around me when it comes to keeping my mental peace, because you are open to that much feedback. So I think as a creator, it's very important for you to monitor your consumption also, because that dictates how you create. That tells you what your internet is like. Mine is very happy, so I'm very glad.
As a super successful creator, are you also spending your money differently now? The Prajakta today, are you investing or saving for a dream home, or are you spending it differently now, or are you enjoying it?
I've always been saving, like I said, because I grew up in such a middle class, humble house. For me, that is also another reason why money is an important motivator, because it has equipped me in fulfilling a lot of my dreams that I've had growing up, not just for me, but for my family. But that also, because of the kind of childhood and growing up years I've had, that also puts me in a position where I can't spend till I save first. So I am saving, I am investing. Yes, but I'm spending on fun things. I'm quite excited.
It's a good balance.
Yeah, I like buying stuff.
It's great. It's great to see you empowered. It's great to see you happy.
Thank you.
And it's great to see you, like I said, remain true to yourself. I don't think I've laughed so much in an interview in a long time.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Wow. Okay, good.
So thank you.
I'm glad. Thank you.
All the best with the book. I haven't had a chance to read it simply because we lined up the interview very quickly.
That's all right. I'll have a copy sent you. I would love to know what you think about it.
I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to many more.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing this with me.